I'm sorry. Were you expecting Turn 5 Live this evening? The boys from Turn 5 Live have the night off.
That is damn right, brother.
Right. That's nonsense, Quinn. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
I don't care what you buy.
You're not just buying a racetrack. You're buying a piece of American racing history right there.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And what a facility you've got. Outstanding.
No matter how long I announce that Cannon Day was, that is Gary's house. And it will always be Gary's house.
I hear a lot of rumors. I'll just keep tuning in you guys.
I consider myself a young kid looking to go fast and have fun. I wasn't looking for a Hall of Fame career.
Well, drivers being what they are, they're prima donnas, you know. We need change. You know, we like being in the comfort zone. We are not in the comfort zone. Just, you know.
I don't like it one bit. I've never liked it. It kind of sucks, really.
Somebody ought to take a wiffle ball bat and just flog them.
Tune in to Turn 5 Live and see a selfie on the radio.
On the radio, that's right.
There comes a time to sit back and say, I've just got too much going on.
Why don't you bring us to more places like this when Brett goes? There isn't any other place.
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Coming to you live from the Finger Lakes and Southern Tier, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now, your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
All these times, I simply stepped aside. I watched but never really listened as the whole world passed me by. All this time, I watched from the outside.
Oh, welcome aboard, race fans. Wait, hold on. Is my mic working, Clint? You can hear me, right?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Check 1, 2. Wait, is this live? Are we live on the air?
Is it live or is it Memorex?
Look, we're going to do it live.
Steve, I pressed the right button. You're live, I promise.
Okay, we're live. All right. Well, guys, I only say that because it has been a while since we've been live. We have been doing all sorts of shows that we have put together over the last couple of weeks. We've been out to the Arnott Mall Car Show. There has been a bunch going on. But, guys, with all of that being said, we are we're not weeks, we're days away from a lot of places getting their first stab at on-track action for 2017. And that, to me, is absolutely mind-boggling. And we have got a lot of folks that are going to be on the program tonight talking about things that we have got coming up here in 2017. Clint, later on this weekend, you've got Outlaw Speedways coming down to take over the Arnott Mall here in Big Flats for a return to the mall show for Outlaw Speedway. I think that's a great thing, for the racing community as well as for the track. And, it seems like there's a lot of enthusiasm about that event coming up this weekend. But it's going to be really great to see the dirt track in Dundee on display back here at the mall.
Yeah, it's been a while, and when you think back to the golden years of the Southern Tier racing, the early and mid '90s, early 2000s, when you couldn't pack any more cars into the mall, and in the Woodhall, it was Black Rock Speedway at the time. They would do some combined mall shows, and then they kind of branched off, and for whatever reason, Black Rock, Yates County.
Back to Black Rock. It kind of fell off to the wayside, and Woodhall went all on its own, and Woodhall's got a very successful show of their own. So yeah, it's nice to have Outlaw back down there, and as a standalone. I'm glad you mentioned that, Clint, because somebody on a message board here not too long ago was asking that question: why doesn't Outlaw and Woodhall do a combined car show? And I'll be honest with you, Clint, the reason is simple. The Arnott Mall gives out, at least for the Woodhall show, 43 spots to be filled. And going into our show here last weekend, or actually I should say now almost 2 weekends ago, we had nearly all of those spots filled. So, you have, the reason why they don't do the combined show right now is just for the fact that, yes, you could do a combined show, but the problem is that you would have to turn away cars that want to participate because you would have all of those spots full, and you'd have to distribute them evenly between both tracks. And let's be honest, that just wouldn't be fair to a lot of drivers that couldn't participate, that would want to participate. So I'm glad to see that Outlaw has got their car show coming up this weekend. And yes, even though they're not, and this is what this person was referring to on the message board, they look at it as a not working together. I look at it as every driver that wants to participate in either of these car shows has the opportunity to do so. So I think that is a very, very good thing, and I don't think it should be looked at as a negative thing because there's going to be a lot of race cars at the Arnott Mall this weekend, just like there was almost 2 weeks ago. And that is a very good thing for dirt track racing. It doesn't matter. Honestly, the other way to look at it too, Clint, is now instead of one weekend where our sport is in the limelight in front of not only race fans, but there's a lot of traffic through that mall that are not made up of race fans that are getting to see our sport center stage. And to have that happen on 2 weekends instead of one, I can't think of a negative reason to speak of that. So I think that's a great thing. And they have got a great event coming up this weekend. They move in on Thursday night, so it's going to be car show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you're going to get 3 days of that this weekend. As far as events that are taking place this weekend, I heard some rumblings about a possible pit stop challenge, but I don't see any of that information being distributed here just yet. So stay tuned to their Facebook page as well as the message boards throughout the week to get some more of that information. I had heard some rumblings of that, but I haven't seen any concrete info out about that. So stay tuned for that because they're going to have a lot of great stuff going on this weekend. We plan on making a trip out and making some rounds and talking to some drivers that we haven't talked to since last race season. So that'll be in the plans for next Tuesday's night's episode. And on top of that, Clint, I can't wait. We got a great program tonight, but just a little sneak preview of next Tuesday night. The Maple Cream Kid himself will be live in studio.
Wait, that must mean that we're getting towards the preview show.
Yes, we are. Next week is it's kind of become an annual thing now. Our Woodhull Outlaw preview show. We're going to go division by division. We're going to talk about who are going to be the key players this year, at least to the best of our knowledge. We're going to pick our champions for each division. And just to throw that extra jab into the ribs, we're going to go back and listen to our picks from last year and see who was spot on and who was, spot off. Because there was a few of those, and I will raise my hand first. I was spot off on quite a few. But anyway, that should be a lot of fun. Adam Del Grosso will be in studio with us next Tuesday for our preview show. So that should be a lot of fun. Let's talk about what we got going on tonight, Clint. We have got coming up in our next segment. We played part of this interview last week, but we ran out of time, and I wanted to play the entire interview so that folks that didn't get to hear it last week would get to hear that tonight. Greg Hixson, competition director from the CRSA 305 Sprint Tour, will be on the program alongside one of his series officials and a guy that we know quite well. Brad Ovens will be a part of that interview as well. We also, after that, Ed Kochersberger will be on with us. And Ed is the new, I'll say part-time announcer because there are some dates that he already told me he won't be able to get to with the 305 Tour because not only is he going to announce with the CRSA Tour, he's also the full-time announcer at the Thunder Mountain Speedway. So we're going to talk to Ed about all the things happening with CRSA as well as Thunder Mountain. He also took a new gig with our friends over at Race Pro Weekly. So we'll talk to him about that and get a little background on Ed's history because he's been putting out a lot of great stuff as far as writing and press releases for CRSA. So we're going to learn a little bit about Ed tonight. And I know he's pretty jacked up. He's been wanting to get on the show, Clint, for a couple weeks now, but he is, and we'll talk to him about this. He's got a career that keeps him a little busy in the winter time. So We've been trying to get Ed on the show for a couple weeks now. We finally got it worked out that we could get him on the program tonight. After Ed's on the program tonight at 8:30, T-Mac. Yes, that's right, that T-Mac, Tim McCreadie, recently spoke with Doug Elkins, and Doug was kind enough to share that interview with us. We're going to hear from T-Mac at 8:30 tonight, talking about some of the non-sanctioned race that they won here recently in preparation for a race that they're going to this weekend. So it should be a really great piece to hear from T-Mac and see how things are going with his new deal with the Longhorn chassis car. And after that, we've got coming up in our 9 o'clock segment tonight, Jacob Seelman, who's working behind the glass for us tonight, will be joining us along with Tom Baker to talk 410 sprint cars. We'll talk the World of Outlaws, and we'll talk about, man, is anybody going to give Donnie Schatz a run for this championship? Because it has, so far this year, Clint, it has been the Donnie Schatz Invitational. So should be a pretty good discussion about that later on.
It's Donnie Schatz versus the world.
Well, we've had a few winners sprinkled in between there, so we'll talk about those with Jacob and Tom coming up at 9 p.m. tonight. We're glad you're aboard with us. When we come back, we are going to hear from Greg Hixson. We'll hear from Brad Ovens, both from the CRSA 305 Sprint Tour. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Max Dairy Bar is a proud supporter of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Opened in 1974, Max Dairy Bar has been a Penn Yan, Cayuga Lake, and Yates County staple, serving the best Hershey's hard ice cream. They also have soft serve ice cream, their weekly yogurt special, sorbet flavors, gluten-free options, frozen Greek yogurt, and non-dairy lemon ice. Don't forget about their tricky 18-hole putt-putt course that will test your skill to see if you have what it takes to be a champion. Max Dairy Bar and Mini Golf, located on State Route 14A, just south of the village of Penn Yan, right on the way to Black Rock Speedway on Friday nights. Visit them online at www.maxdairybar.com or Max Dairy Bar on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by Max Dairy Bar and tell them Turn 5 Live sent you. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Dan Harpel from Penn Can Speedway, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network, coming to you from Center Court here in the Arnott Mall for the 2017 Woodhall Raceway Car Show, presented by Sword Out Recycling. And next up, we're going to talk to a couple of guys here that know a whole lot about the 305 Sprint Tour here, the CRSA Sprint Cars. Of course, Greg Hixson. Title is Tour Director for CRSA, or
Competition director.
Competition director. I like that. Very good. You guys have got a great booth here this weekend. Got a couple of sprinters right off center court, right by the escalator, and you guys got a great setup this weekend.
Well, thank you. Mike Emhoff owns the Patriot Sprint Tour as well as the CRSA, and it's a joint collaboration this weekend. Mike couldn't be here. He's in Virginia working his real job.
Yeah.
And Brad and I are manning things here, trying to represent both PST and CRSA.
Tell us about the sprinters that we have here this weekend.
Well, both of them are 360 sprints that run. They're going to be running weekly with the Patriot Sprint Tour. Got Kyle Drum and Josh Ozzie.
Now, if I remember right, Josh is a graduate from 305s.
That's correct.
Initially. Very good. And, of course, Kyle, he's been on the 360 tour here for quite some time. We've had a lot. I mean, you got 2 sprint cars right off of center court. You've got a lot of fans that have been passing by and looking at these, these beautiful machines. I imagine that's probably the big thing you guys take away from this weekend is people getting to get up next to these cars and see them up close and personal to see just what makes them go.
Yeah, it's really cool. Around our area, the modifieds and the street stocks and the 4-cylinders, they run every week.
Yeah.
And so everybody sees them every week. And that's the cool thing about the sprint cars. We travel around to a different track each week, and we're kind of a special entity that night.
Yeah.
And it is pretty cool listening to people. They don't even know how to get into them.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask what the wings are for and what they do and that type of thing. So they are a cool race car.
You talked about, you guys with the travel and tour. Now, the travel part of it, that's a blessing and a curse. I mean, you guys have a great schedule lined up for this year, but there is something to be said for, being that something special on the schedule that night, because not a lot of places run sprint cars every single week. So when you guys come in, man, look at these machines. I mean, and let's not downplay the 305 sprint. Those boys get around pretty good too, and that is no different than watching the 360 show.
Yeah, from the naked eye in the grandstand, you can't tell the difference.
No.
Obviously, if the 305s were out there on a bigger track racing with the 360s, you would definitely see the difference. But from watching one group to another, you can't really tell.
Yeah.
And like you said, all the drivers that we have on the CRSA Tour, they're a bunch of great people. We got a couple female racers that get out there and tussle it up with the guys, and they're very competitive. As a matter of fact, Sydney Prince was our Rookie of the Year this past year. Young female driver. What is she, Brad? 14, I think?
14, going on 15 maybe.
And, she started out slow, and each week she worked at it. And at the end of the year, she was actually tussling for some spots. She was passing cars and moving forward. And we got a bunch of great guys out there. They put on a great race. I walked away from a couple racetracks this year that came up to me and said that our feature race was the best race that they had at their track all year. So, yes, it is. I'm not just saying it because it's an organization that I'm involved with. It's a fact. They do a great job.
So let's talk about your involvement and getting involved with Mike and the 305s here. I mean, you have a great history in racing, not only as a driver, but more recently from the race director side and from the eye in the sky, as I always refer to the race director as. How did all this come about to get involved with Mike and travel with a couple of young guys that are new to traveling with the series? How'd that all come about?
Well, I've known Mike for probably 15, 16 years maybe. I actually bought my first modified that I owned from Mike Emhoff way back when.
Okay.
And that's when I first met him. And then when I got out of racing for a little bit, Mike hired me to go on the road when he was running the mini sprint series.
Right.
Central New York mini sprints. And then he ended up getting into the full-size sprints, and I started working for him on the Patriot side. And just things evolved from there. Then I got a flagging job at Dundee when Dean Hogue owned the track. I got to be a race director at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. Jeremy Corcoran was gracious enough to give me that shot. And since then, I've race directed a couple races at Rolling Wheels. And when Mike decided he wanted to buy this CRSA series from Mike Van Dusen, he asked me to run this side of it. And I'm honored that they have enough faith in me to do it. And you were talking about the young kids here. I that's what I call them. I call them my kids.
Yeah.
I got 3 young kids that I brought along. I worked with them for 1 year at Black Rock when I was race directing there under Mike Jackson. And I liked what the kids did. And when Mike asked me to get a crew, one of them you know pretty well.
Yeah, I do.
Your brother Brad.
Yep.
And we have Nick Foltz and Tony. Help me, Brad.
Tony Dillon.
Tony Dillon. I couldn't think of her last name.
T. Dillon.
And I do. I call them my kids. They do a great job for me, and they've got a long future in racing themselves.
That's got to be a pretty neat experience because, you on the official side, other than working with Mike in the mini sprints, you've primarily been at one racetrack every week or the 2 racetracks on every weekend. So it's a different experience for you. Plus you've got your young crew that's learning, and maybe Brad just shares all the good stories with me, but it seems like you guys have just an absolute ball out on the road, and that's got to make a big difference.
Yeah, we do. It's like anything. You spend a lot of time. It's hot out during the summer. We're on the road sometimes 5 hours traveling to a track, and I can't say we bicker, but every once in a while tempers get a little short. I remember one time last year I kind of snoozed in the toter on the way to the races, and halfway through the night I go to make copies on the printer, and I look down, and apparently someone, I'm not sure who, painted my fingernails on the way to the track. So
I was driving. Both hands on the wheel.
We have a good time. And,
that's good.
And that's what we're here for. We don't get paid much. We don't get paid anything at all. It's just we do it for the love of it.
So as far as looking at the schedule, is Orange County the longest tow for you guys?
Yeah.
And you guys have Orange County quite a bit.
You guys we've got 5 of them, I believe, there.
So being that that's, let's say that's about as far east as you guys, and now you guys this year you'll be coming out this way. I see a date with Woodhull this year. You guys coming out. So Woodhull, would that be about as far west as you guys?
Yep, that is as far west as we go.
So let's look at the schedule here, because you guys kick things off on the 22nd out at Fonda. The following Saturday there at Orange County, and then you guys come back Friday, May 12th for Afton Motorsports Park. New promoters there at Afton, and but still, same great racetrack, and I'm sure it's going to be a great show there for you guys.
Yeah, I haven't met the new owner myself yet, but from what I understand, he's worked for Jamie quite a bit, and he said he's just going to continue on doing things the way Jamie had, put things in place, and we really enjoyed going there. It was a great facility. They treated us well, and hopefully they enjoyed our series when it was there.
So you look down through. So we talked about Fonda, Orange County, Afton. May 19th, you guys are going to Penn Can in Susquehanna. They're under a new promoter this year. Thunder Mountain, also new promoters there in Center Lisle, New York. And then we get down to June 18th. You guys are out at Utica Rome Speedway. I know that out there in Vernon, that's where you guys have the banquet every year as well. But Utica Rome, that's just a fun sprint car track. It's big, it's open, and you got a lot of lanes to work with.
It is. That was one of the tracks that I was alluding to, that we had 5 cars that swapped the lead like every lap for about 15 laps out of our 20-lap race there. And that was one of the promoters that came up to me at the end of the night and said it was the best race that they had at their track all year.
Awesome.
Our drivers seem to get around it well. It's very conducive to our sprint cars, and we appreciate them having us back this year.
we talked about Woodhull being new on the schedule this year. Is there any other venues that are new to the schedule this year?
Skyline.
Oh, okay. Now that should be interesting there in Cortland. That's a racy track. There should be a good show for those guys.
We're going to do our best to make sure it is.
CRSA used to race there in the Van Dusen and the prior regimes. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
The prior regimes had been there, but we're making the return. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a little while since we've been there. So finally get out and get to some more tracks.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this point up too, because it just makes a lot of sense. From Mike's perspective, having a 305 series and a 360 series, because that's a proving ground. That's a training ground to make that step to 360. Are you guys seeing some of those drivers this year making the jump?
Yeah, we are. I think we didn't lose them totally. The guys kept their 305 motors. They're going to run with us when they can. But I think there's like 3 or 4 drivers last year that are moving up to 360s in different venues.
Was one of those drivers the past champion from this past season? Or is he still...
No, he's staying with us.
And that's Kyle...
Smith.
Kyle Smith, that's right.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, from his season, Brad, last year, I mean, we got to see Kyle... The time that I got to see him drive was at Outlaw Speedway, and what a battle for the lead there, and he's quite a shoe, the returning champion.
Yeah, he's a really patient driver behind the wheel, which with these cars you have to be.
Yeah.
Sprint car racing, you've got the big wheels, the big tires, the big wings, but the ideal for a sprint car is the least input you want to put in on the wheel, the faster you can go. The straighter you can keep the car going around the racetrack, the faster you're going to be, and he's just beyond phenomenal at doing it, and he's one of those patient guys that he doesn't want to win the race on lap 5 when it's a 20-lap race.
The thing that I'm sure you guys as officials preach to your drivers all the time is with the open wheel sprint cars, the margin for error is so small that guys that are coming up through and learning, that's a big learning curve, because that margin for error is so small.
Yeah, that's true. And believe it or not, a lot of our drivers started out in the micro sprints too.
Okay.
So, a lot of them got the learning curve there. They realized that in a sprint car, the term rubbing is racing, and I agree with that for the most part, but not so much.
Not so much with the sprints. Yeah.
I mean, you can, but the results are not usually good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, for the most part, 2016, we never really had any. We had a few little collisions, which it's open wheel racing. It's going to happen. Tempers flare, but for the most part, we never really had an issue with it. Guys were respectful enough to not trash a bunch of cars, and it wasn't too often that we would have to pick one up and somebody would leave the track, in pieces.
Right.
I did not have to talk to one driver about rough driving last year, not one.
Awesome. Returning this year, Champion Power Equipment, and that's the tour sponsor.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Paul Cole, I mean, what can you say about that guy? He just, as far as supporting racers, supporting tracks and series, guy just does it all.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Paul. I'm honored to say that I'm the one that got Paul into the racing. I met him in Newark, my hometown, and we got to be friends. I brought him on board at Canandaigua, and things have just evolutionized from there. He's got his name on a bunch of cars. He's a title sponsor for the Grit Series.
Yeah.
He's the title sponsor for CRSA, and he helps out the Patriot Sprints, as well as I think there's somebody else out there that he's helping out.
He's very calculated. You see a lot of guys that'll spread the wealth and just to get their name out there, but Paul's one of these guys that you go and talk to him, and he wants to crunch numbers. He wants you to give him a good reason on why he should be on your car. He's not just somebody who wants to help the sport and just throw money everywhere.
I had a conversation once with Paul about some of the drivers that he supports. They break it down by, that logo. How many laps in a heat race? How many laps do you run hot laps? How many laps is that? I mean, those are some of the things that a lot of these drivers that, they might throw a sponsor packet together to secure sponsorship. Some of those things you got to think about. You got to crunch all those numbers and things.
the thing that I like about Paul is, he's helping drivers with the cars, but he's doing so much more for the sport. We've got generators, inverters, power washers over here around our booth at all these car shows, and Paul's helping. We've got 9,000-watt generators that when people look at the price of it that we've got for the show special, walk home with it today.
Yeah.
We had to pick Jaws up off the floor because they said, is that, it's a 9,000-watt dual fuel generator that it's just, you can't beat those deals.
And for you, Greg, who would have thought that, somebody that you met in Newark would be so involved in the sport now? I mean, he's even on the side of the Super Dirt Car Series champions car this year. So, I mean, that's really come a long way.
That's right. Paul loves racing.
Yeah.
But he is a businessman.
Yep.
And like Brad said, he makes good decisions. And I've watched him. He's put his name on a couple young kids' cars, and he tutors them as they go. He teaches them, you can't just come and say, Paul, will you sponsor me? He teaches them how to do the resumes and keep records and how to do it right, how to do the marketing right.
Yeah, how do we market this? Yeah.
And so not only is he a great friend, not only is he a good ambassador for motorsports racing in general, he's a tutor and a mentor to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And he's even helped me out with things. I once in a while, being on this side of it, the official side of it, you get frustrated with things and you're not really sure how to handle it. And I can always go bench race with him on Monday or Tuesday. And he even tutors me once in a while on, we'll just calm down. Let's think about this. Maybe we should try
Let's talk it out. Yeah.
And he's just a great guy. And if anybody needs a generator, go see him. Champion Generators, Super Gen Products out in Newark, New York. Name's Paul Cole. If you see him at the racetrack, if nothing else, go up, shake his hand, and say thank you. Even though you're not buying a generator from him or he's not sponsoring your car, he is helping our sport.
He's a hell of a supporter.
So just go up and pat him on the back and say thank you.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we've got through 17 and a half minutes here, man. That was good stuff. I appreciate you guys stopping over, and I know there's a lot of great folks that are checking out those sprint cars, so I'll let you guys get back at it, but thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right, Greg Hixson, Brad Ovens from Patriot Sprint Tour, CRSA 305 Sprints. We've got a lot more coming to you here from the Arnott Mall here in Center Court. We'll have more right after this here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, your authority on motorsports of all types. Be listening for the most accurate and up-to-the-minute coverage of every motorsports activity that you enjoy on a daily basis. Be it NASCAR, be it IRL, be it Formula One, be it drag racing, be it dirt track, off-road, props, hulls, whatever. We are your source for motorsports. Performance Motorsports Network.
Hi, race fans. This is Billy Dunn, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Billy Dunn bringing us back from commercial break. Well, you got to hear that great interview with Greg Hixson and Brad Ovens from the CRSA 305 Sprint Tour. Now, why don't we get a chance to talk to the guy who's going to be doing a little bit of writing as well as some great on-the-air microphone work for the CRSA Tour as well. Ed Kochersberger joins us on the program. Ed, I've been working on the name all day long. I think I nailed it.
Perfect, sir. Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us on the program, man. It's great to have you on the show. I know that we've been trying to work on getting a date that worked out for both sides here for a couple weeks. You've been a little busy this winter.
Yes, originally we were supposed to be on, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately that's what this Mother Nature decided she wanted to throw in a monkey wrench and give us a little storm here. So, yeah, I had to call off that one for you.
Yeah. Now, let's talk. We've got a lot that I want to cover here with you, and I was looking forward to this all day. You know, there's a lot of things that we could dive into talking to you, Ed, but let's start before we even get to what you're doing this year. I'm always intrigued. I'm always interested in knowing, you know, what got somebody involved in the sport. Was it going to a race? Was it being involved with the team, or what was your lure, or what was it that got you the racing bug?
Oh, there's a few different occasions on my timeline, probably. Ones that stand out is probably my first trip to Fonda Speedway with my dad back in the early 90s, seeing the URC sprints in a regular show. We also had a friend over on Long Island. His name's Ray Skagowski. He was a very big into midget sprint car racing back before they had the cages. This is going back in the 60s. But by the time I was around to hang out with him and my dad and my grandfather, he was racing legend cars with a tour called the Class Car Legend Tour in the mid-90s. And they were a great group of guys, and they remind me a lot. The CRSA Tour reminds me a lot of them in many ways. Like great camaraderie, very tight-knit traveling organization. And that's probably what got me. I learned a lot from Ray in a short amount of time about race cars, about how to go about just being in the pit area and the business itself, because he worked on them too in his shop. So yeah, that's pretty much where it started for me. I was probably in junior high. Awesome.
And you talked a little bit there about the camaraderie that you see with the CRSA Tour. How did it come about that you are now going to be involved with that group? We just heard from Greg and Brad talking about all the great things that are happening with those guys and the tour. What drew you to CRSA?
I grew up with one of their drivers, Dustin Purdy. We went to college together. Pretty much followed his career from the slingshots all the way through the modifieds onto what he's doing now with the CRSA Tour. And my wife grew up pretty close to the Van Duzens. I got to know Mike pretty well too when he ran the series, and just got to talking in the past few years when I came off of active duty. I hung around the pits a lot at some different tracks. I actually went to Orange County once with Mike. I go to Afton. I go to Pencan when I lived over in Unadilla area, and it just grew on me that everybody started. I get to know more and more of these guys. The more I grew attached to the whole thing, just getting to see familiar faces, and they welcome me every week in the pits, and I think, man, I feel like I fit in pretty well there. So I'm really looking forward to that part of it.
You mentioned they're coming back from active duty. That was something I didn't know. So I feel like I should stop here and at least start with thanking you for your service. That was something I didn't know.
Oh, that's no problem, sir. Yes, I served from 2006 to 2012 active duty. I'm still in the reserve component down in Pennsylvania. But I was active for 7 years. The family and I traveled from Fort Stewart, Georgia, to Germany, a little town called Baumholder. We had a great time. I did deploy twice, Iraq and Afghanistan, and I don't really talk about it much when if I'm in a work environment like this. Is kind of a work environment for me, but I greatly appreciate that recognition.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of respect from this side of the table for sure. Now, we're talking about your involvement with the sport, and you're going to have quite a busy season this season. You've not only got some duties with CRSA as far as being on the microphone for those guys, but you've got a big commitment on Saturday nights as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. I will be working at Thunder Mountain Speedway. I'm a fairly new announcer, but I will be getting plenty of experience this year between the CRSA tour and working for probably getting the best of both worlds if you think about it. The spoon hours. I probably ought to take this moment to thank them for giving me an opportunity to work for them. It's a great Saturday night track, basic family fun. That's their atmosphere up there, and I'm pretty fortunate I'm going to be part of that, as well as another side of things, traveling with the CRSA Traveling Family Sprint Tour. I mean, I'm looking forward to both of those experiences. They both kind of came at me almost at the same time, so I try to work it out where I could do a little bit of both. I'm going to be doing all Thunder Mountain and a good majority of the CRSA Tour, so it's going to be a lot of fun experience for me. I'm really looking forward to it.
So we've got some things that we want to ask you about both of those sides there. Some things that you're looking forward to, some big events that both sides, both the sprint cars as well as Thunder Mountain. We're going to step aside real quick here, Ed, and we'll have a lot more coming up with you here in our next segment.
Good thing. Thank you.
All right. We've got more with Ed coming up here after the break here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Max Dairy Bar is a proud supporter of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Opened in 1974, Max Dairy Bar has been a Penn Yan, Cayuga Lake, and Yates County staple, serving the best Hershey's hard ice cream. They also have soft serve ice cream, their weekly yogurt special, sorbet flavors, gluten-free options, frozen Greek yogurt, and non-dairy lemon ice. Don't forget about their tricky 18-hole putt-putt course that will test your skill to see if you have what it takes to be a champion. Max Dairy Bar and Mini Golf, located on State Route 14A, just south of the village of Penn Yan, right on the way to Black Rock Speedway on Friday nights. Visit them online at www.maxdairybar.com or Max Dairy Bar on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by Max Dairy Bar and tell them Turn 5 Live sent you. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Mark Manullo, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Oh, Mr. Smooth bringing us back from commercial break. You're listening to Turn 5 Live exclusively here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen Ovens, Clint Miller, Brad Ovens joining you on the program tonight. We've got our man Jacob behind the glass producing, pushing the buttons for us tonight. We're talking with Ed Kochersberger from the CRSA 305 Sprint Tour, the Thunder Mountain Speedway, where they race dirt modifieds on Saturday nights, and also a very large contributing member to Race Pro Weekly and our friends over there. We just had Bobby Chalmers on the show here of about a month or so ago. But let's talk race season, Ed, and I know that the big season opener up at Thunder Mountain scheduled for Saturday, April 29th, and that's a big one. They're celebrating their 25th year with their season opener, and it's 1992 to win for the modifieds. That looks like that's going to be a big show.
We're expecting a lot of cars. Last time I talked to Carl, last year was pretty healthy for just about every division. Modifieds, all the way down to XL modifieds, 4 cylinders. They run weekly IMCA modifieds now, street stocks, 602 great sportsmen, and open sportsmen as well. So it's a very busy card. And the opening night is going to be the first of many, yes. And we're really looking forward to that. It's a pretty nice little track up there, very racy.
Tell us, for the fan, for the fan tonight that is listening that either hasn't visited Thunder Mountain before or hasn't visited in a long time, try to give them a little bit of the flavor of, how things go at Thunder Mountain and what they can expect on a visit there.
Very quick shows. Usually everyone I've ever been to has been very efficient for the most part. You go up off of I-81 in a little town called Centerville Isle. The track sits way up on a hill. I'm thinking this is next to sitting up on the grandstand at Watkins Glen. I put it up there with that. It's a very beautiful view. It's like if you've ever been to Watkins Glen, you look over towards Seneca Lake. It's very pretty. Thunder Mountain is pretty similar. You looked off the back straightaway, and there's a lot of scenery. Even kind of like Woodhull, you got your nice backdrop. And as far as show goes, as you can see I've always witnessed a lot of side-by-side racing there. It's very, very competitive. And I really look forward to that up there, spending the whole season up there. I've only been there twice my whole life myself, but it's going to be something being there weekly now. I cannot wait for it.
I've made one trip to Thunder Mountain in my years of working motorsports here, and Clint, I think that was the event that you and I took in together, Short Track Super Series show, and for the last couple seasons, that's been a part of the schedule, and that Lightning on the Mountain event has been one of the bigger drawing shows of the summer.
Yes, I was actually at that one last year, too. This year, it is the same weekend. I believe it's the same weekend as last year, May 27th and 28th. Night one, the modifieds are off on the 27th. They have an open sportsman race, the crate race, $1,000 to win. Rookie budget sportsman, IMCA modifieds, XLs, and 4 cylinders. And Sunday is the big event, the Short Track Super Series, fueled by VP modifieds, $5,000 to win, plus a sportsman and the street stock event. And I know last year was pretty stacked. I remember seeing names like Stuart Friesen obviously there, and Eric Rudolph was there. I remember recalling him being there. Danny Johnson, the regular cast you see in the Short Track Super Series.
Oh yeah, you could list off all the names of the Northeast. The top guys from this part of the country. They'll all be there.
I also realized that I guess Billy Decker, I believe, is going to be running for Jeremy Smith. I believe it's the 46 car. He will be participating. Sounds like quite a bit more this year, as far as I know. And that's going to be a little exciting to see that again, seeing Billy up there. running more than one series. It's going to be good. It's going to be good for the competition as well, definitely.
And with that situation, Ed, Jeremy, he's a regular competitor at Thunder Mountain, right?
Yes. We were at the Motorsports Expo in Syracuse. His car was actually one of the cars on display there. And I believe he is. Yes. I'm still kind of getting adapted myself to the regular crew up there to see who's weekly and who's not. But yeah, I believe he is a regular weekly up there.
I mean, and I've gone through this at two different tracks in my time, and I say in my time, and it's only been just a couple of years, but that's got to be one of the most intimidating things about taking a new position like this. Is there's so many names, there's so many characters, there's so many car numbers and things to try and get straightened out, and really, us announcer folk, we don't have that long to put it together. I mean, the fans come to the racetrack and they expect to hear your best right out of the gate. I mean, it's quite an intimidating thing.
Yes, definitely. It's a little easy to underestimate it. All the years I've spent listening to people like you, Paul Small, Mel Thomas. I could name off so many people I grew up listening to. You have Earl Krause down at Pocono Raceway. All those guys I've looked up to over the years. Now I'm going to be trying to emulate. I won't say emulate because I'm going to have my own style, obviously, hopefully. And it's going to be a challenge. It's going to have me on my toes initially. But I'm pretty confident. I mean, once I get like you said, once you get the names down, once you get the know the drivers, my main thing is getting in the pit area. I've been known to do it around the CRSA guys because I know a lot of them, but I really want to do that Thunder Mountain too and get to know these guys, their sponsors, get to know their backgrounds, and I think that's going to make it a lot easier for me, and it's going to give them the attention that they deserve at the same time because in the end, it's ultimately about them. It's not about me. So I'm just doing my part to enhance their exposure.
Awesome. Now, I just saw this the other day, along with your roles with the Sprint Car Series with Thunder Mountain, you've also taken on an expanded role with Race Pro Weekly. Tell me a little bit about that. It's actually where I started. About last fall, I started talking to I think it was Dale Bard, John Douglas, some of the staff there. They were looking for a writer, and I was like, well, I do kind of know how to write. And so I gave it a shot. My initial writing was on some friends in the racing world. I did a piece on Tyler Seary, Outlaw Speedway. Then I decided, hey, let's try Credential. I went down and kind of hung around and hovered around the indoor racing series, the Trenton race, the Allentown race, and the Atlantic City indoor race with the TQ midgets and the slingshots and the champ carts. And it was pretty enjoyable. I got some articles out. I got to know some more drivers, and I enjoy that side of it too. When I have time between my regular work, it's actually I actually enjoy doing that part of it. Now, I have got a media intern that works with us at Woodhull on Saturday nights, and we just put an article out on her and the program that she's following today on Woodhull's website. But for somebody new like herself that is, still new to, walking up to these drivers and taking some of their time to do an interview and ask some, pertinent questions about race night, for somebody like yourself that has some experience doing it now, for somebody new like her, what would be some tips that you would throw out about, interviewing these drivers that otherwise she may not have met before? A lot of it is I grew up a pretty shy individual. My wife will be the first to tell you. She's taught me a lot about that. There's one story about us being at Pocono one year, and she walked her up the Kurt Busch like it was nothing. I learned a lot of that from her. What I learned is you can't be afraid. You have to just get in there. For example, if anybody knows who Ted Christopher is, he's one of the bigger pavement drivers up here in the Northeast, and he could be a little intimidating, kind of like Dale Earnhardt Sr. was maybe intimidating to approach back in the day. But you have to get yourself out there and at least give it an attempt. And 9 times out of 10, I feel that these drivers and these team members have been the most gracious, down-to-earth, some of the most down-to-earth individuals I've ever been able to know. I think it could be because
they appreciate that, and they don't get it a lot at this level. And I'm trying to take advantage of that in a way that gets them where they need to be in the limelight. And I think it works for both of us if you just get in there and do it, and get to break the ice. It's incredible, the relationships you build. That's the best part of it, I think, is building those relationships when you get to know just about everybody in that pit area, and the ins and outs of them, and on a more, I wouldn't say it's more of a personal level. I mean, you don't try to get in their lives and barge in on them, but you do know them on a professional level as far as the sport, and that's very rewarding for me. Like I said, I've been a race fan all my life, and the closest thing to brotherhood I've had since being in the service, I'm a firm believer, has been this being in racing. I mean, it's just the guys risk their lives out there, and you get to know them, and it's kind of a similar atmosphere for me, and I think that's why I'm very attached to it.
And that's great advice. It's really good stuff. I like the comparison there too. I mean, this is everybody is so close knit, and for a lot of, I would say not even for a lot, for most of the folks in this sport, this is not something that folks are going out and doing on the weekends to necessarily pay the light bill. This is something that we all enjoy, we love to do, and I'm with you, man, 100% on that. I can't believe how quick the time has gone tonight, Ed, but you know what that means. We're just going to have you back again here real soon to talk a little bit more once race season gets fired up.
I really look forward to that, sir, and I appreciate you having me on tonight. This has been a great experience for myself as well. So thank you very much.
Awesome. We'll talk to you soon once the season gets fired up, and good luck at your first events here with CRSA and Thunder Mountain coming up here in just about a month.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
All right, Ed Kochersberger joining us on the program tonight. What a great interview there. A great young man that's getting involved in the sport. I love his comparison, with the environment and the community that we race with here. Really good stuff there. And trust me, we will be having him back on the show again to talk more as we get more results and more races in the books here. Got a lot of things to talk about. But, hey, guys, coming up next, I know this is going to be a popular interview tonight, along with our others. We have got a lot of late model fans, a lot of Tim McCreadie fans out there in Turn 5 land. So stay tuned. Tim McCreadie coming up next. He spoke with Doug Elkins here just about a week ago, talking about some of the events that they've gone to and the events they're headed to here on the Lucas Oil Late Model Series. We'll hear from T-Mac next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving.
I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Otto Sitterly, driver of the Kochersberger Racing number 7, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Ah, yes, Otto Sitterly, driver of the Kochersberger number 7. And by the way, before we get to Tim McCreadie's interview here, happy birthday, John Kochersberger.
Really?
The owner for Otto Sitterly's number 7. Yes, John Kochersberger's birthday celebrated today. I saw that on the Facebook.
I was getting ready to ask you if Facebook helped you cheat with that, Steve. But no, that's great. I love it.
You know what? I push the gray areas. I'm all cheater, man. You can even take a look inside of my RC transmission. It's all plastic gears, baby. It's all plastic.
I love it. I love it.
Anyway, now that we've got off that soapbox, because I can already hear it in Facebook land. I'm setting off bombs and you know.
You're gonna be tore down next week.
I'm gonna be tore down next week. You got that right. Anyway, Tim McCreadie picked up a win at Boyd Speedway here. I believe that was just about a week ago, maybe more. But the Lucas Oil Series is headed back there. T-Mac won a race in a non-sanctioned event, and it was perfect timing. They had a rain out, which was why they went to Boyd's. He ends up picking up the win, and they have great notes now for when the Lucas Oil Series comes back, and that's happening on Friday night this week. Doug Elkins talked to him about it. He let us have a copy of the interview here, so we're happy to share this with you. Doug Elkins with Tim McCreadie.
Well, it's going to be a little while up here before we get a chance to smell some race fuel and toss some clay around with all the snow. But to our south, they have been racing. Lucas Oil Series was scheduled for a couple of races this weekend in Ohio and Indiana, but they, with the snow and rain, they canceled those early in the week. So professional race car driver Tim McCreadie needed something to do this weekend. There was a race down at Boyd's Speedway down in Ringgold, Georgia. He decided to head on down there and picked up his second win of the season in the Shamrock 40. So let's head to Cincinnati, Ohio, the city by the river. And that's where Tim McCreadie is right now. How we doing today, Tim?
Not bad, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for making time for me. I appreciate it. So why did we head down to Boyd's?
Well, it was kind of, like you said at the beginning, we were all focused for the Lucas races and ready to go and do that. And unfortunately, the way the weather worked out, they canceled them. But we're ready to race, and we need to race. We got this team it's a new team. Even though it's me and Sweetners is involved and Dick's involved, all of us are involved. We have a new guy working on the car, and Philip, one of my good friends. We also have some engineers that are working on it. It's just a whole new program. So we need to race to get together, if that makes any sense, where we can actually get to where we're working together and we're learning off each other. And we got a lot of new stuff we're trying, too. So it's just a matter of all that together. And we figured, well, let's where can we go and race? And Boyd's is the place that I went to last year and kind of struggled. So I figured, well, we'll go down there. They have a race, pays decent, and maybe we can do something good. And lo and behold, we had a great night and ended up with a win.
And of course, the series is going to visit there on March 31st. So you got a little bit of jump on the field on this one.
Well, you know how that goes. Those guys, Bloomquist and Josh Richards and really the rest of us, Earl Pearson, there's so many good guys that they're all good. And it's just more of I needed to figure out what I might need to get myself better there. And I don't know if we found it. I think we were pretty good. I'm pretty happy. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, we got a leg up and we're the car to beat going into Boyd in a week and a half or 2 weeks. But I will say that I feel a lot better that we won't go in there and maybe be lap traffic or take a provisional like we did last year. So on that note, I'm kind of excited. We'll go down there and see what we can do in a little bit.
All right, so tell me about the race. I saw you you did win the heat race, beat Dale McDowell in the heat. How was the feature?
Feature was good. We started third. The way it worked out, we just dry. It was a little tough to pass. It was kind of top dominant a little bit with the cushion, and what I thought made us good is we could roll the bottom and got by Mike Marler to get in second. And we had a little bit of luck with Rainey Weaver's car. Brandon Overton broke actually under the yellow, but we were, I don't know, we were as good as him. It would have been nice to race him because he's been one of the faster cars this year everywhere. But it's also nice to know that we were keeping the pace with him. And this racing is sometimes luck usually trumps everything, and I'm not going to apologize for having a little bit of luck and things going our way, and a win's a win, man.
That's true. Any anxious moments after you got the lead on lap 14, because we still had 26 laps to go?
Well, it's just like anything. You start looking at the board. They have a board there, and you see guys that are coming and going, and Dale kind of, McDowell come up through and got into second. I thought, well, he might be okay, and you just try to do the best you can. I got the lead in the race and running the lane I'd been in, which was up by the wall and the cushion, and I never saw anybody. And after the race, just, I'm one of them guys. I'm not good at riding, so I just charge as much as I can. And we lapped a few guys, and after the race, the guy said we had about a straightaway lead. Maybe I should have took it easy, but I've never been good at taking it easy. Usually when I do that, I get beat. So it was just our night. Everything went smooth, and it was nice. It's been a long time since we've had nights where it just goes X, Y, Z, great run. So it was very, very good, a good night, and we're excited about the future.
And of course, 2 wins, and it's still March. That's pretty good, isn't it, Tim?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had some years where we didn't win till last year was one of them. I didn't win till last November, so it was cool. But now we've kind of rode that momentum from last year and knocked off a couple earlier. And to be honest, we were in position maybe for a couple more down in speed weeks, but all in all, it's been a great start to the season. It's good to see that everything we were putting in place with like Vic and Carl and Ann Myers and everybody saying, okay, this is the direction we wanted to go in, and okay to do it and putting your faith in people that you don't get to see every day. Like, it's hard for me to put my faith in a whole team that's basically 12 and a half hours away from where I live most of the time, and you have communication, but you don't get to physically see everything, and to see how nice the stuff looks when we come to the track, and to see how innovative some of the stuff is that we're doing. When I say innovative, I mean innovative towards me. I'm sure it's been done with other teams and other things, but for me personally, it's a new way of thinking and a new way of doing things, and it's pretty cool to see that it's had some immediate success, and hopefully we can keep pushing the rock up the hill, so to speak, and keep having success. Lucas
Oil Tour is off this coming weekend, and you told me these races that were supposed to take place, there was actually one in Ohio and Indiana this past weekend. You knew nice and early that this wasn't going to happen, so you got a chance to stay home back up in Watertown for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I get the shovel. That's what a lot of people do. A lot of shoveling. So it was. It's nice. I mean, the Lucas Series is really good. Really, most of the series I've run with the last years, they're pretty good. I think people are learning nowadays that dragging people all the way to the racetrack with forecasts that are 95 to 100% chance that there's going to be rain or some kind of issue is just tough, especially in early March. So, I mean, you don't want to lose races by any stretch of imagination, but when you're in the division I'm in with late models, and you do realize some of these guys got a 12-hour ride, and the way the fuel is and the way things are, it's hard to really force these guys to come all the way down to somewhere, pretty much knowing that it's going to have it's not like it was 15 years ago where our weather wasn't exactly, not that it's perfect, but we have a good grasp on what's going to happen, and it allows guys when you cancel early enough to do what I did, which was find some results to go if that's what you want to do, or just stay home and prepare yourself maybe to get better. So nobody wants to drive all the way to the racetrack during all, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially all the way to Georgia.
They're really good at trying to be honest with people, and that's all you can ask for in the series.
So when did we decide, okay, since we're not racing, let's go someplace else? When did we have that conversation with the team?
I kind of had a thought of it right when they were having us on a conference call about what they might want to do with the rain out races. And
was that Tuesday or Wednesday, Tim? Or
yeah, I think it was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday afternoon, and we kind of sat down, and I I called obviously Dave down at Longhorn and Justin Labonte and the guys and Philip, my crew chief, and we just kind of bounced some stuff off, and we were looking at different places to go. And like I said earlier, I was looking at maybe going towards Florida. They had a race down in Milton, Florida. They had a 2-day race there, 2 nights of racing, and we couldn't really get out of town because of the weather. And so we said, well, this Boyd's is going to run a race, and they're also going to race. And like I said, Lucas is going there in 2 weeks, so it probably wouldn't hurt to go down there and take some of the stuff we've been working on that we took to a track a week ago when we got snowed out at Tennessee, and see if it's transferring from racetrack to racetrack. Because when you run these races and you go all over, you're at a different track most nights, it's hard to reinvent the wheel every night. So you need to find something that's, in my opinion, very versatile. It'll have a huge window. So if you are off, your off night's a top 6 or top 7. It's not provisional and fighting for a 15th place run. So that's what we're trying to do. And so far, the stuff transferred. So yeah, we decided to go to Boyd, and we're all smiles today. That's for sure.
And I see you're off this coming weekend. So what are we thinking about? We're going to try to chase something this coming weekend.
Yeah, we've stayed out on the road because there's I'm kind of 90% sure I'd like to go north towards Illinois to run the Fall Brawl up in LaSalle, and they have a 7,000 on Friday and then a 17,000 on Saturday. And the Izzo family's been really good to me personally when we've run their shows, and we try to support them because anybody who's taking a chance, and you put a purse together like that, and I guess I read something the other day that between both days it's a $100,000 purse.
Wow.
And, you got to support them guys. I mean, it's not sanctioned by either the Outlaws or the Lucas. It's sanctioned by a couple smaller sanctionings, and but you also got to support them, man, because the last thing we want to do is these races start going away. If these promoters are going to stick their necks out and put up big money, you try to support them. That's what I try to do, because the last thing you want to do is have all the races disappear. And so we're leaning towards that, but there's other options. The Outlaws are down south, and I'll probably look at all the forecasts and talk to Tony Izzo probably more than anything, and whatever he decides to do, I'll probably figure it out from there. That's the beauty of being in Cincinnati right now is no matter which way we go, we're not going to have more than a 7-hour trip to get there. So it's
a great location.
We got options, man. Even the Sonoya, Georgia's having a couple of shows that pay good money too. So there's 3 places we might be. It's just a matter of I can't sit here today and tell you where, but LaSalle's our main focus. Probably the Outlaws are second, and Sonoya, Georgia would be our third option. But we're going to race somewhere.
That's LaSalle Speedway in Illinois, is what that's called.
Yes, LaSalle Speedway up towards about an hour and a half from Chicago or so.
Oh, okay. All right, so not a bad drive from Cincinnati at all. Less than a day, and he'll be able to make it up there. Very good. So 2 wins to start the year for T-Mac. Like we said, we'll see where he ends up this weekend, whether it's Illinois, Mississippi, or Arkansas, or someplace else. We'll have to wait and see, but 2 wins early. I know you said some thank yous earlier, Tim, when we were going, but who is it that's making you do this? Who's helping you get the victory lane nice and early this year?
Well, it's always, the guys that are helping me, Frog, Philip, my new crew chief, Eddie and his son was there, and all the guys at Longhorn, obviously Colin, her engineer, and Dave, Justin, and then, of course, Sweeteners Plus is back, Anna Carls. It wouldn't be possible without them, and we have a couple other manufacturers. There'd be too many to keep listing, but I do thank everybody that helps us out, and it's an exciting time right now, man. Some of the stuff is looking pretty cool right now, and hopefully this ain't the last time I get to talk to you.
And I'll talk to you in a little bit. Tim wanted me to look into something here, and I'm going to look into that, so I'll call him back in a couple hours. Tim, thanks so much for your time, man. Good job, and I will be able to do this again next week, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Anytime. Thanks.
You guys, this is the only place you get this stuff right here on Doug's Dirt Diary.
Well, I appreciate Doug Elkins sharing that with us to hear from Tim McCreadie. Clint, in our next segment, let's break down some of the things that Tim's talking about, because he has got a whole new deal when it comes to running this Longhorn house car, and it's really an exciting time for Tim McCreadie, without a doubt. Really, really competitive, already winning races there. So let's step aside here. When we come back, we'll talk about T-Mac, and coming up at 9 o'clock, Jacob Seelman, Tom Baker, going to join us to talk 410 sprint cars right here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister. My father.
My husband.
My mom. My mommy. been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Chuck Hebing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans. Chuck Keeping bringing us back from commercial break. And man, while we were on the break, I'm stumbling over my words here because Clint just sent me a preview photo of the Double Deuce Coupe, and you guys have gone with the nuclear banana this year. I love it.
It's kind of going back to Carl's roots a little bit. The mid '90s when they ran Superstock. He kind of migrated to a yellow, and we kind of went with that, and we're incorporating a little Miller Blue into it, so it's a little bit of a tribute car. We're going to go a little farther into it next year, but Carl went to Florida for a week or so and got back. We didn't have time to put the paint job on it. We really wanted to, but it's going to look clean, and it's going to be simple and clean, and I think it's going to look pretty sharp for the mall show. Awesome. Good stuff. Hey, we just heard from T-Mac in the last segment, and Clint, I'll start with you here because, we've always tried to follow Tim McCreadie's happenings, and I'll tell you, he's got such a good deal this year, driving that Longhorn house car. But at the same time, for a driver like Timmy that's always been, immersed in whatever race cars he was racing, it's got to be such a trust level for him to kind of take that step back and he can really just focus on the driving part and being the best driver that he can be because he's got more support. I mean, the cars aren't even in their shop anymore. It's really a great deal for him. Well, you know as well as I do, it's resources. And, Carl Myers and the guys, they can give him a lot of stuff, but being a Longhorn house car, those guys work on them every day. They designed it. They know the ins and outs of it. And for him to have the privilege of running with them, I think, I we've always liked him, and he's smooth. But I think that this is, he's early 40s. This could be a breakout year for him, this late in his career.
Jacob, I know that you're itching to talk about T-Mac because, we have followed, his migration to the Lucas Oil Series. But part of the interview that stands out to me, Jacob, is the fact that he's talking about the Longhorn engineers that are part of the team. It's not him and his crew that follows him on the road. He's talking about the team of engineers that's working on his car. It's just fascinating.
That's what you get when you're driving a house car, Steve. You get all these people that design the chassis, that work on the chassis, that build the chassis, that, keep the chassis running fast. They know those cars inside, outside, upside down, backwards, forwards. They know it every direction that there is to know it, Steve. And that, I think, is what's making T-Mac so good going into this year. That's something that he has not had until very recently. And that's a difference maker. That's a game changer. We talk about the Richards family and what they've done with Rocket Chassis and how that's made Josh so good, I think, and even Brandon Shepard now, who's driving for Mark Richards in the Rocket house car, the one, and how Brandon has stepped up his game. And you look at Darrell Lanigan on the Club 29 side, some of these chassis builders that have that inside knowledge, we stop, and I don't know that sometimes we always realize just how much of a boon that really is for a driver to work with those types of people. And I think that's what you're seeing right now with McCreadie and the Longhorn folks. He's got extra knowledge, extra hands, extra support that he hasn't had before, and that's really, I think, stepping his game up, making him better. And I think it's motivating him to go out and chase even more success because he knows he's in the best position, I would argue, of his entire career, Steve. And that is only going to be a situation where the best is yet to come. I think that we're just seeing the beginning right now. These guys are gelling, and I would dare say that Josh Richards' hold over the Lucas Oil points lead isn't necessarily safe. I'm throwing McCreadie's name into this hat. He's up in the top 5 in points right now, and I think he's going to have something to say about this championship later this year because of all that extra support.
And not only, the motivation and the support, but I think, Jacob, too, I think it's just got to take a lot of pressure off his shoulders. That it's not up to him and his ace mechanic to get the car right, and kind of, they had notes, but they were kind of flying by the seat of their pants. And even though it was a rocket car, maybe Richards and the gentleman, maybe they weren't available to him. So that's some added press and some pressure, added stress, because he's out there trying to make a living doing it. And now he's got people making some serious decisions for him. And it takes some pressure off because now he can just drive the race car.
Amen, brother. Amen to that. When you put a driver in the car and tell him, hey, you don't have to worry about making it go fast. We've got that part covered. Just go out and drive. They're going to be better. And T-Mac is at his best when he can focus on his craft.
Now, Brad, I want to come to you on this here, too, because, we have followed Timmy since he's gone to the late models, and Clint has always been one to really help us follow the progress. But what you've seen so far, Brad, I mean, they're not running in top 10 anymore. They're running top 5s. They're winning races. Do you think that we're going to see this all season long, or are we still kind of in that honeymoon phase?
I think with what Clint was saying about having guys there that build the car, they know the car, they are those cars. You hear Tim say in his interview that, it's kind of hard for him to step back and let these guys take control because, like we've been saying, this is how he makes his living. So if he has a bad night and doesn't finish well, he doesn't get paid well. So I can definitely see why, that might be a hard transition for him. But I think once he gets comfortable with it and trusting his guys and knowing that they're putting a good piece underneath him, I think we're going to get back to seeing the old Tim McCreadie that went out and won the World of Outlaws late model championship. And I think he's starting to prove it already.
All right, guys, I want to go around to each of you. I want to give each of you your own about 30 to 45 seconds here. I want to know where everybody at the round table sits here as far as how many wins do we think T-Mac gets on the Lucas Oil Series this year, and is he going to be your pick for champion for this year? Can he pull it off this year? And I'll start with Brad.
I'm going to say on the year this year, I'm going to say he pulls off 8 wins. 8 wins out on the tour.
Wow.
As far as championship, I don't know. I'll say I'll go with at least the minimum a top 3.
All right, Clint.
I'm gonna go a little less. I'm gonna say 5 wins. But he is going to finish in the top 3, and I'm saying he's going to contend for the championship. I don't know if Josh Richards is ready to be beat yet.
All right, Jacob.
Wow. Clint, get out of my head, because your brain went exactly where my brain went. He's already got 1, and I think he's probably going to win Boyd's this weekend. Just throwing that out there. I'm going to say 5 as well. I don't think Josh Richards is going to win the title, but I have a feeling McCreadie finishes 3rd. I think it goes Richards, Bloomquist, McCreadie. And if we come back after the Dirt Track World Championship at the end of October and it ends up like that, all I got to say is, you heard it here first, boys.
Prima Bloomer's done.
Shush.
Uh-oh.
Them's fighting words for the dirt late model community.
And I'm not saying done as in like washed up done. I just, so much centers around him. I think that he'll gently fade off into darkness. Top 5.
I'm gonna fall, and I maybe part of why I come to this number is I'm sitting here looking at the water wagon RC body that's here in the studio.
Of course you are.
I'm gonna say 6 wins this year. 6 wins. Absolutely top 3 in points, but I think he's going to finish 2nd in the points, and I think it's going to be a tight race between he, Bloomquist, and Richards. But I think T-Mac comes out in 2nd because, like you guys said, I think it was Clint, I don't know that Richards is quite ready to be beat just yet.
No, he's not.
But, should be a lot of good stuff, and we'll step aside here, guys. We're going to transition from late models to 410 sprint cars. We got a lot to talk about there. We're going to talk a little bit more other than Donnie Schatz, or at least we're going to try to. We'll do that next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm going to do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network. Your source for motorsports.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Gary Tompkins, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Uh-oh, Steve. Is it that time? Is it that time? Is it that time?
Yeah, I think it's that time.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's time to push them off into turn 1, if you will, and fire up the 410 sprint car segment as we get ready to talk World of Outlaws. And Jacob, it's I shudder to say it, but it has been a Donnie Schatz dominated season, but we're starting to see a glimmer of hope. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. It's not going to be a Donnie Schatz tour this year.
Hang on a minute. You're calling one victory over the weekend by somebody other than Donnie Schatz a glimmer of hope. You forget the man has still won 6 out of 9 or something?
Oh, you and your numbers. You and your numbers. Come on now. Work with me here.
I'm trying, but Donnie makes it awful hard.
He sure does. He sure does. I mean, what really can you say about the season that they have had so far? I mean, it has been absolutely phenomenal in the different ways that they've won races. I mean, there's been races when they've been the dominant car. There's been races where they've not been the dominant car, but they've just had the right driver behind the wheel on the final lap. I mean, it's really been incredible.
Yeah, it has been. So, Steve, you asked me what you can say about the season he's had so far. I'll give you a few descriptor words. Charmed, unbelievable, incredible, dominant, ridiculous. Do I need to go on? Are you getting the idea yet? This is the kind of start to a season that happens in Steve Kinser's storybooks. This is not something in 2017 that is supposed to happen, and yet Tony Stewart Racing is writing the chapter, and Donnie Schatz looks like Steve Kinser circa 1993, or something to that effect, Steve. Right back in the middle of the King's heyday when he was going to town winning 35, 40, 45 races in a season, and I hesitate, but at the same time, we've seen Donnie win 30 and 35 races in a season before. I think potentially, if he keeps going like he's been going already, he's got the possibility of going on a clip where we could see him for the first time in his career get to the 40-win threshold this season. And everybody gasps that's listening to us right now. They're like, what? Did he seriously just say that? Yes, I did just say that, because I think it's a real possibility here.
Tom Baker joins us as well from RaceChaserOnline.com and the Performance Motorsports Network. Tom, 40 races. I mean, he's already 6 wins on his way to 40. Do you think he hits 40 this year?
He's going to disagree with me, by the way, just because that's what he does.
Who are you again? What did you say? How many races did you say he was going to win?
40, sir.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's great to be back on Turn 5. I was wondering if Jacob was going to give me any mic time here. He's producing tonight, so he has the ability to push the mute button anytime he wants to. And
I'm not that
sitting
mean.
here thinking, gosh, I'm sitting here wondering when you're going to get around to me. Steve, I think he gets 40. I actually think he gets 50 or more wins. So I guess if that counts as disagreeing with you, Jacob, I think the guy, there's 90-plus shows on this schedule. He's won 6 out of the first 9. Multiply that out. 9 times 10 is 90. 6 times 10 is 60. If he keeps anywhere near this pace up, he's pushing 50 wins.
So Jacob shoots at 40. Tom shoots at 50. Brad, can I get you for 60 shots for 60 wins?
We need an auctioneer.
I don't know. We apparently don't have the same pollutants floating in our air that they do in North Carolina. But I feel comfortable saying he's got a shot at 40. But if he starts on a roll and he starts heading for 40 and passes it and starts heading for 50, let me tell you what, you better put your seatbelts on because it's going to be a wild ride.
I've already put my seatbelts on, Brad. Come on now.
Well, pull them straps a little tighter.
Yeah. Pull them seatbelts tight one more time. Look, guys, I mean, let's be realistic here. I mean, this is Donnie Schatz's world right now. The rest of the Outlaws are just living in it. And it's really unbelievable. I mean, we've talked 2 years in a row now about all of these new teams, the level of competition, and we keep saying this can't keep up, can it? And it seems like this year he's off to the best start he's ever had.
He is off to the best start statistically he's ever had.
And here comes Brad Sweet and wins a race, and we all kind of, I love Jacob the way you put a glimmer of hope. We all have this glimmer of hope that maybe this won't be a 60-win Donnie Schatz season after all. And it's nothing against Donnie. I think we all just want to see more guys winning. But it's just really amazing. And I think what we're witnessing here, Steve, and guys, is just a legend in the making. I mean, this is an era in World of Outlaw sprint car racing, and who would have thought it 2 or 3 years ago?
I said it 2 or 3 years ago, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, but you had Darren Pittman, you had guys that at least were chasing him down to the wire. Every year, Schatz has gotten more dominant, not less, and that's what's really crazy. It's like last year, he spotted him the spring, and as soon as the weather got above 75 degrees, you couldn't stop the guy.
Well, that's what happens every year.
Well,
though.
not this year. He could spot the rest of the series the spring. This year, he started winning right away and hasn't stopped. Steve, it's just unbelievable what we're witnessing here. And again, it's not as if he's beating a bunch of rookies or young guys with no experience. He's beating some of the best that have ever sat in the sprint car, and he's beating them soundly. It's amazing when we talk about a Brad Sweet win as being a glimmer of hope that there may be some competition for shots. That's an amazing backhanded compliment.
Well, what's funny, guys, is I just got a message from Clint. Clint's off for the rest of the show here, headed off to work, working that C shift. But he just sent me a message, guys. And he said, remember when we all laughed at Clint because he said Schatz could win 35 races last year? And here we are talking about how, 35, 40, maybe 50. I mean, it's really wild. But I want to shift gears just a little bit here, Tom.
Okay.
Because we talked about Brad Sweet getting a win at Stockton this weekend. There's a couple things here. I mean, yes, it was a winner other than Donnie Schatz, and we love that. But let's talk about this from the sponsorship angle for Sweet.
Sure.
This was a win for Napa Auto Parts, and as big as it was for Napa to become more involved in sprint car racing, you have to get some wins to go along with that. And here's the first one for Napa Auto Parts. That's very big for them. Very big for KKR.
Well, it is. It's big on both counts. You're exactly right. It's a huge momentum, confidence builder, I'll say. Not necessarily momentum, but confidence builder for KKR. And it is a big win for Napa. And the fact that Napa's involved and the fact that, we've got some of these new sponsors in the World of Outlaws this year, it's good to see that team go to victory lane. And, of course, Brad is basically, Jacob, is, he picks up the win, and then we're heading to, to Brad's own show at this point. I think, what is that? Is it Wednesday?
Tomorrow night,
Tomorrow night, yeah. Brad Sweet's show that he promotes at Placerville, and you got to believe that, he's going to ride the confidence of the win this past weekend at Stockton right into that show, and that he's going to have a little extra incentive to double up because it's the show he's promoting.
Well, that's exactly true, but you forget about one thing. Brad Sweet has momentum, but he doesn't have enough momentum. He's going to finish second. You know why? Dun, dun, dun. I'll say it like I said it last night. There are 42 reasons, or if we want to go by his sprint car number that he's driving tomorrow night, there are 14 reasons why the 14 car is going to win because it's got driver 42 behind the wheel. Steve-O, Kyle Larson, and I'll say it again in California, Kyle Larson.
He is my pick, no doubt about it, to win tomorrow night. Guys, there's not a bunch of the races that I'll purchase on Dirt Vision throughout the season. I do love to listen to them on the live audio as well as the Super Dirt Car Series, but I'll tell you, tomorrow night is one that I definitely, Tom, am going to be purchasing and tuning in because I want to see Kyle Larson's performance tomorrow. As much as the NASCAR fans tried to anger me today talking about how he shouldn't be in a sprint car, I'm going to be tuning in to watch. I don't care what they say.
Hang on, that was Chip Ganassi that said that, just FYI, Tom.
Well, real quick, I just wanted to again, playing the part of the observer here. I agree with everything you just said, Steve, but here's what I find so ironic. Here we've just spent almost a whole segment talking about how amazingly dominant Donnie Schatz has been and how hard it is to beat him. And we got Brad Sweet, who did beat him this past weekend, going into his own show with extra momentum. And you guys are saying that Kyle Larson, who's not even a regular, is going to come in and with no doubt whatsoever beat the guy who's barely been beaten all season. I'm simply saying I think that's really interesting that you guys would go and do that. And that you obviously think a lot of Kyle Larson. So do I, but I'm not ready to just give him the race because he's in it.
It's interesting, but it's true. You know why? Here's why. Because he took a car. Remember, the race that he ran in February with TSR in that same car, he had to start 15th, and he came to second on the last lap and was about to drive around Donnie coming to the checkered flag to win that race if it wasn't for a lap car. Where did Donnie start in that race, Steve? On the pole. You don't start Donnie on the pole and not expect him to win, and Kyle almost did it anyways. I don't care if Donnie Schatz is in that car. Kyle Larson's proven he's been better in that car this year. Rant over.
I will say this. Placerville is a special place that produces special stories. And after Larson's win on Sunday, it just starts to fit the Placerville mold. He goes and wins Fontana in the Cup car. He comes to Placerville and wins in the sprint car. The story, I think, after tomorrow night, boys, is going to write itself. I really, really do. Let's take a step aside here. When we come back, more 410 sprint car discussion. We've got to talk about the heartbreak that was for Jason Sides the other night, as well as an impressive run by Tim McCreadie to come from the Last Chance Showdown to the top 10 at Stockton over the weekend. We're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Matt Shepard, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
That guy.
Yeah.
What does he know about driving a race car?
Wow.
How about that to wrap up the show, huh,
Yeah,
guys?
really. Superman.
Welcome back to Turn 5 Live. We've got all sorts of voices on the air with you tonight. Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens. Well, there's the double trouble portion in New York anyway. Then we've got the double trouble portion down in North Carolina in the Race City USA studios. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman joining us tonight. And guys, I've got to hand out tonight's Stat Boy Cookie of the Night.
Oh,
and
my favorite.
It doesn't go to anybody on the show tonight.
What?
It goes to
Jacob's
Patriot
sad
Sprint Tour Media Director Paul Harkenreiter.
What does he know? What does Harkenreiter know?
Well, Harkenreiter knows that Dirt Vision Video isn't live tomorrow night at Placerville, so I won't be buying Dirt Vision Video. Neither will anybody else.
He shouldn't get a cookie for that. That's depressing.
That is depressing.
Give
Come
somebody
on.
a cookie
Hey,
for depression.
Brad Sweet, if you're listening to this show, first, if Brad's listening to this show, that's a small miracle. But more importantly, Brad Sweet, or somebody that can get the message to Brad Sweet, why is Dirt Vision Max not doing this show? It's been the best show on the Outlaws schedule, save for Knoxville, the past couple of seasons. It's stupid that they're not videoing it.
I'm with you. I'm a little bummed because I'm telling you that's at least in this household that's lost revenue right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And Paul also brought up the fact that Jason Johnson dominated this race last year, and you know. This race last year, coupled with a Knoxville victory, I mean, Jacob, this is, yes, we can talk about Kyle Larson. Yes, we can talk about Brad Sweet and Donnie Schatz, but let's not leave Jason Johnson out of this conversation.
My goodness, Jason Johnson has had a resurgence, hasn't he? He won in Florida, Steve. He was the only guy not named Donnie Schatz to win in Florida during Speed Weeks. But Jason, ever since that win at Placerville, Steve, that win at Placerville, coming back and getting redemption in this race a year ago, I think relit the spark under Jason Johnson relit the racing spark, because ever since then he is driven like a man possessed, like a man that knows what he wants and isn't afraid to get it. And you know where we saw that last year? Knoxville. He fed Donnie a wheel and didn't even care because it was for $150,000. It was for the granddaddy of them all. It was Knoxville. And you know what? That earned a lot of respect for me. Jason, for me, I've met him a few times, and he had always come across as this kind of quiet, unassuming, not necessarily over-aggressive guy. I've seen a new side of Jason Johnson the last 14 to 16 months that I've never seen before. I mean, this is an aggressive driver. He is living up to his nickname, the Ragin' Cajun, again, because good grief, you don't just take it to Donnie like that and not expect to be called aggressive. He's done some things the last year or so that have just, Tom, so impressed me, and it's good for the sport to have somebody like that, and I don't think, honestly, Jason's not afraid to wear the black hat a little bit and kind of rile everybody else up now.
Jason is what I would like Chase Elliott to be in the Cup Series.
Oh.
He has that level of aggression.
Yes.
That I have not seen out of Chase at the end of these races. And I think when Chase gets to that point, I think you'll see him start winning, and he may not stop for a while. But, and I think that's the difference to me right now between him and Kyle Larson. But back to Jason Johnson, I think Jason has, to me, the right combination of the right personality, the ability to wheel the car to the front and win, and as you said, not being afraid to take it to the guy next to him. He's an old school type racer, and you're right. That's great for the series, and I hope that we see a few more of those emerge with the speed and the ability to consistently make Schatz work for everything he gets. Because even if Schatz wins a lot, as long as you're going back and forth and battling back and forth, and it's this guy one night and some other guy the next and whatever, and you're seeing different people stepping up to challenge him, and every once in a while somebody gets the win, that's what you want in the sport. And there's nothing wrong, Steve, with having a rabbit to chase like Schatz. You have this sort of legend that keeps growing and growing and growing, but you also have other drivers stepping up and taking their turn in victory lane to keep us all interested and remind us that there's more talent there than just one car and one driver. And I think Jason Johnson is very emblematic of that kind of a racer. You've always got to be keeping your eye on where he's at on the racetrack, because you never know from night to night when he's going to jump up and race for a win, kind of like David Gravel.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, guys. A couple other notes from this past weekend that we wanted to at least make mention of. Jason Sides had a great run going before mechanical problem put them out of contention for the win this weekend. And, it was a great run for Jason up until that point. So I wanted to mention that. Also, Tim McCreadie comes from the Last Chance Showdown, starts in the 24th position in the A-Main, and works his way all the way up to 10th at Stockton, which is no easy feat. And so as we continue through this West Coast swing, Placerville tomorrow night, keep your eyes on Tim McCreadie as they continue to work through this West Coast swing, along with a guy by the name of Ian Madsen. A couple of names to keep your eye on there tomorrow night at Placerville. Now, before the show wraps up tonight, Tom brought up a great point that we haven't mentioned yet, and I'm ashamed that we haven't. News that broke out a couple days ago that shocked me. I about fell out of my chair, but it makes sense for a lot of reasons, Tom. Danny Kapazinski to Weedsport Speedway in 2017. I love this move.
Who would expect a game of musical PR people? I mean, that's
Hey, you need to credit Camden Proud for that. That was his comment. Thanks.
Well, I mean, but it's a general, it doesn't matter against the credit. It's just who would have thought? I mean, and what an opportunity for both Danny and Weedsport Speedway. I mean, Danny leaves Oswego, which I know is his passion, that's the track that he holds the most dear and the most hollow, because too many hours, just too much of a commitment. He's got a young son now that, he wants more time for the family. So he takes a job in the Skinny Atlas School District doing their PR, and he's found a way now with this situation at Weedsport. And what a move this is, Steve, on behalf of Weedsport Speedway, to go and get this kind of a talent on a part-time basis to help boost their public relations and do a lot of their promotional work. And they've added some amazing staff there, of which Danny Kaye is just a part of going into this season.
Absolutely, Tom. I was just going to say, this move, after recently naming Tana Robinson to the staff,
yes,
who was the marketing guru at Ransomville Speedway, working for the Friesen family for all the years that they owned that track. I mean, these two moves were brilliant. Bravo to Weedsport for bringing both of these very talented individuals to their facility, because they are two of the best at what they do in the Northeast, and I would put them up against any dirt track in the country. This was just absolutely a brilliant move to have both of those, and they acquired both of these people in one off season.
Oh, I know it.
If you're gonna rate the off season of all the dirt tracks here in the Northeast, Weedsport, I think, goes to the top of the list.
Well, and the thing is you look at it. It seems like it wasn't but 2 or 3 years ago or so that we kind of looked at Weedsport Speedway and went, "Gosh, what's happened to this place?" And all of a sudden, now it's had this glorious rebirth. It's the grounds have been completely renovated. The track has been redone, and you have all new people in the management side of it. And now you go out and you assemble a marketing and promotional dynamic duo like Tana and Danny Kaye. What a fantastic move for the racetrack, as you said, both in one off season. I think we can safely say now that Weedsport Speedway is going to be a place to be once again, and it's in good hands, and it's just going to do nothing but grow. That's great for Central New York racing. And by the way, Camden Proud taking over for Danny at Oswego is the most natural and, to me, appropriate move that could be made, because the young man is graduating high school. He grew up around the Speedway. His dad raced there. He's racing there now. He has the writing skills. He has the communications ability. He has the raw passion for the classes that race there. And he comes in at 17 years old, very young, very single, and he has no problem spending days and hours and, whatever he has to. And he's able to do that. And so, to me, both tracks got what they needed out of this. Obviously, Camden is not going to be Danny in all ways. He's got to grow into certain things like the video piece and all of that. He doesn't have a lot of experience with that. But, they'll groom him and make him into that. Danny Kaye at Weedsport is going to make that a showpiece from the promotional standpoint. And I know Tana's marketing work is going to bring corporate and, pieces to that track that it desperately needs. So just awesome both ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. Awesome stuff on the program tonight. Before we close things out tonight, I just want to make mention of a friend of ours in the racing and the RC community that we lost over the last 24 hours or so. A good friend of ours. We'll just refer to him on the program tonight as Skippy. We are going to miss you, Skippy, at the RC track. This guy was absolutely incredible. He could do more with an RC car with just one hand than any of us could do with two hands. So we're going to miss you, buddy, and we'll see you on the other side. Don't forget to tune in next week at 7:30 p.m. here for Turn 5 Live, our season preview episode. The Maple Cream Kid, Adam Del Grosso, will be here in studio with us to cover it all. For Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens, Clint Miller, Jacob Seelman, Tom Baker, we thank you for listening tonight. So long, folks. We'll see you next week.
Turn 5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners. Thank you for listening to Turn 5 Live. You can listen to Turn 5 Live every Tuesday night right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned for more great PMN programming.
Everything's better when she's around. Coming to the parents go out of town.